Psalms chapter 14. The fool has said in his heart, "There is no God." They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there are any who understand, who seek God. They have all turned aside. They have together become corrupt. There is none who does good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread, and do not call on the Lord? There they are, in great fear, for God is with the generation of the righteous. You shame the counsel of the poor, but the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion, when the Lord brings back the captivity of his people. Let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad. David called the people who did not believe in God foolish and corrupt, because denying the existence of God is taking away credit from God and everything that he does. Take the creation of the universe, for example. How can someone believe that everything just magically appeared suddenly when they don't even believe in magic nor the supernatural? Scientists still don't understand exactly how or why the universe came to be. There was an explosion. Okay, what caused that explosion, and where did it come from, since we all can agree that there was nothing? Some people will still refuse to give God the glory or credit, even when they have no other explanations for miracles happening all around. They will never say, "It must have been God." Some people say there is no God in order to excuse themselves from being held accountable for their sins or wrongdoing. Many are in denial and just don't want to confront nor accept it. The Lord looks down from heaven upon the children of men. He looked down on mankind because man is beneath him. Sometimes we act as if we are on the same level with God. No, he is way above us, and so is heaven. This is why it is so hard sometimes for us to understand what God is doing and why. God looked down on man to see if there were anyone who was trying to understand or seek him. Instead, he sees the corruption of men and how they have turned away from following God. This shows that things are now as it was back then, pertaining to mankind. And we seem to not learn anything or just have short-term memory problems. The workers of iniquity may have seemed to be prospering in their ways, or have the upper hand as they seemed to eat up God's people like bread. But even in this fallen world, God is still with the generation of the righteous. As David puts it, God is their refuge, so take heed and be warned, all you who work against or try to shame the counsel of the poor. In verse 7, David knew that the Lord was a refuge for his people, and that evildoers would never win. This is why David expressed his great longing that God would bring the victory and deliverance he had promised his people. He said that he longed for God to bring back the captivity of his people. This is not captivity in the negative sense that we have come to know it, but he wants to capture the love and affection of his people to himself. Like in 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5, which says, "Casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ." Let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad is anticipation of the coming deliverance and victory by our Almighty God.